Most people think GLP-1s replace the work, but what I have found is that the GLP-1 that I take has actually enabled me to put in the work more than I ever have. I'm Lane. I've lost 55 pounds over the last year using tirzepatide, which is a GLP-1 GIP combination. Prior to this, I had turned 40 and I was miserable and fat and tired and feeling like I was just going to be like that forever, like I was stuck. And so if you've ever been stuck, especially if you're a dude and you're in your 40s and you're fat, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the exact same way. And I tried all kinds of things to solve this problem, and it took a GLP-1 to finally make progress. But the one thing I hear from so many people is that if you take a GLP-1, you must not be putting in the work. But I checked my app that I use to work out. Over the last 1 year, I have done 268 workouts, 287 hours at the gym, and I've lifted 5.6 million pounds of total weight. To put this in perspective, 268 workouts is an average of 5.15 workouts a week. There are only 365 days in a year. 268 of those 365, I was in the gym. In a week, there are 7 days. 5.15 out of every 7 days over the last entire year, I've been in the gym for a total of 287 hours. I'm going to tell you exactly how this drug aided in that process and what the drug had absolutely nothing to do with. And most of it comes down to the results that I was getting, not necessarily the inputs, but we'll get more into that later. So the loudest voices in fitness have already made up their minds about GLP-1 users. And to be fair, not everyone is negative or against it, but there are many who are against GLP-1s. And the narrative is you took a shortcut, you didn't earn it, your results don't count. Right? I've seen this, I've heard it in comments, I've seen it in videos, and honestly, I get why people think this. The drug sounds too good. It feels unfair. And this is especially true if you were fat, like I was, and you took the weight off, like I did several times. This is something that people don't really understand about fat people. We don't want to be fat. We actually kind of hate it. It sucks. And so we go through these seasons where we'll take all the weight off and then we'll put it back on, and then we'll take it off and put it back on. And it's not like we put it back on because we want to be fat. We take it off because we don't want to be fat. We put it back on because our bodies are absolutely desperate to put the weight back on. I have a video that you can watch about that. It's right here. I'll link it at the end of the video. But we've done this several times. We don't want to be fat. We're not trying to be fat, but the weight stays on. And so if you have broken that cycle, if you're one of the few incredible people who are able to just decide I'm no longer going to be fat, all the things that led me to this point of putting on all this excess body weight, I'm going to correct all of those things: physiological, psychological, emotional, hormonal. And I'm going to do it without the aid of a GLP-1 or testosterone or other peptides or anything. I'm just going to do it with my sheer willpower. I think that's awesome. I was not one of those people. But that narrative, though, that it's unfair is built on a false assumption. And that is that GLP-1 users aren't training. And to be fair, some aren't. Some are not going to the gym, but some of us are moving 5.6 million pounds in a year. That's me. I've done that. It's funny. I had somebody comment on one of my videos and they said, this guy's small and he looks like he's never touched a weight. I can't tell if that was a troll. I'm guessing that person was trying to be serious, and maybe in that particular video I looked small. But I can tell you I've touched a lot of weights, and a lot of weights have touched me. So over the last year, I've lifted a lot. 5.6 million pounds, 287 hours in the gym. The conversation is missing an entire category of person. The guy who took the drug and did the work, which is me, and it's who I'm talking to. The type of person who is like me in your 40s or 50s or 60s, and you're a dude and you're stuck physically, and you're thinking, I want to be one of the people who take a GLP-1 and do it differently, do it better. You're who this video is for. The people who want to do this the right way. Because I'm going to show you how I did it. And I did it the right way. I'm not coming to you saying, I made a bunch of mistakes and here's my mistakes. I'm coming to you saying, I did mistakes for 20 years. And over the last year, I did it the right way. And I used modern medicine the right way. And I took control of my life the right way. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So let's talk about who I was before. And maybe you can relate to this. I was never a couch potato. I already trained 4 to 5 days a week before I was on testosterone and before I was on tirzepatide. And even so, I still carried around 55 extra pounds. And I was still losing the war with food. This is what I looked like prior to getting on testosterone and getting on tirzepatide, lifting 4 to 5 days of the week. And you can see in this picture, I was at the gym. Like, I loved the gym. I was too tired to do much. My workouts didn't last all that long. I would give up and go home, but I still went because it's just what I did. Every cut attempt would collapse around week 3, not from lack of discipline, but from relentless hunger. So if I was trying to do a cut bulk cycle, the cut thing would just, it would go away quickly because immediately within a week or 2, or especially 3, I would just get to the point where I couldn't do it. The weight wasn't a laziness problem. It was a metabolic problem I kept trying to solve with willpower. I was spending enormous mental energy just trying to manage appetite. And when I say that, all I'm saying is I was just trying to not overconsume food. That was it. But even trying to do that without the help of tirzepatide became an all-consuming passion. I mean, it's like all I could think about is don't eat, try not to eat too much, put your fork down, put the plate away all the time. That's the version of me that started GLP-1. So not a lazy guy, willing to put in the work at the gym, but very, very tired because I had low testosterone, very frustrated because I had taken weight off and put it on and taken it off and put it on so many times that I felt like I was in this failure cycle that I didn't know was ever going to end. And at one point, I got to a situation where around the time I turned 40, I started to tell myself this story that maybe this is just the way life is. Like maybe I'm going to be a fat, old, tired dad, and I'll live a couple more decades, and then I'll die of type 2 diabetes or heart disease. I truly had this thought because I was so frustrated and felt so helpless to change my situation. And I've talked about this in other videos, but there's so many people who will comment, and because this isn't an issue for them, they'll fire off something like, it's not that hard, bro. You're doing too much. Just do keto. It's not that hard, dude. Just don't eat so freaking much. It's not that hard. Just do carnivore. And it's like, yeah, I get it. It's not hard. It's actually pretty simple. It's not complicated, right? It take in fewer calories than you expend. That's a simple concept until you look at the fact that taking in fewer calories than you expend for people that have very high hunger signals and a lot of food noise is only a temporary solution. Taking in less calories than you expend works until your mindset, your psychology, your willpower gives in to the relentless pull that your body has to eat and to continue putting on the weight. And so for the people who are just like, it's not that hard, just do it. I want to say back to those people, there's a lot of things in my life that feel easy. For example, going to the gym feels easy for me. It's not hard. That's why I still did it when I was fat, because I like the gym. I like being there. I like being around the people. I like being around people who are lifting heavier than me, have a better physique than me. I like looking at the person who doesn't know much, but they're there and they're trying to better themselves. I live in a resort town, so there's people that are here on vacation, and so they're getting in their workout before they go to the beach for the day. So they got that kind of aura about them, like I'm on vacation. It feels free and light. I like it all. I like it all, and I always have. I have people tell me all the time where they'll say, man, I wish I could go to the gym like you. I wish I could muster up that kind of willpower. And I tell them, I don't have to muster up willpower to go to the gym. I like it. And in the same way, you might be the kind of person, or you might have this person in your life who eating is not an issue for them. It's not an issue. They do not struggle with overeating. Those people, if it's you, you don't know what it's like to be me. So I don't know why you're commenting. And for the people in your life who say that to you, if you struggle with food and they don't know what it's like to be you. And so to listen to what they say and to feel defeated because they can conquer this issue that you have a problem with is unproductive. So my advice would be stop listening to people who haven't been in your shoes and haven't overcome what you have to overcome. At least stop taking their advice to heart, because their advice doesn't mean anything if they haven't lived in your shoes. So what changed for me when I got on tirzepatide? First of all, the food noise went quiet, like shockingly quiet. When I think about food noise versus hunger signals, there's a lot of people who use these two terms. What do they mean? Food noise is the constant preoccupation in your mind about what you're going to eat next. That's food noise. It's not necessarily hunger. We'll get to that in a second. But food noise is this kind of constant like script that's playing in your mind where you might be doing something in the moment, but you're thinking about that ice cream that's in your freezer that you forgot was there until just now, right? And you're like, oh, maybe later I'll grab some ice cream. Or you're thinking about how you're going to leave to go to the store, and the first thing you think is, oh, I want to pick up cookies at the store. Or you're like, I'm going to drive by Wendy's and I would love to get a Frosty or a bacon cheeseburger. And these are just kind of constant thoughts in your mind. Or you're going to go somewhere and the first thing you think, it's a social event, the first thing you think is, I wonder if there's going to be food there. I wonder what kind of food. And it's not just because you want to make plans for dinner. You may have already eaten dinner, but you just want to know that there's going to be food there. And if there is food and you're at the party, all you're thinking about is eating that food. This is food noise. And I've seen so many people who, because food noise is a relatively new term that's used in relation to GLP-1s, people think it's made up. Oh, that's so silly. Food noise. What a nonsense, like woo-woo kind of excuse for being fat. Just say you're a piece of crap. Stop talking about food noise. Just admit you're a freaking lazy piece of crap, right? That's what everybody wants us to say. Well, I'm not willing to say that. I'm not a lazy piece of crap. And food noise is real. And if you have experienced it, then you know what I'm talking about. Food noise went quiet. Like all of a sudden, I go on tirzepatide, and all of a sudden, for the first time, I wasn't white knuckling every meal. Meaning I wasn't sitting there going, okay, it's time to stop. I gotta stop. I just stopped. It kicks in and you just stop eating. Like you were hungry and now you're just not hungry. I talked about food noise. I want to quickly mention hunger signals, because hunger signals are more physiological, not psychological. They're more physiological. You feel it in your body. The hormone ghrelin increases, and that's what signals to your brain that you need to eat, that you are hungry. When you take a GLP-1, it reduces ghrelin and increases GLP-1. And so GLP-1 signals that you're full and ghrelin is reduced. So the signals to your brain that you're hungry goes away. And so the hunger signals are also diminished. So it's like this 1-2 punch of you no longer think about food, you don't have the preoccupation, and you no longer feel hungry. It's kind of amazing. Now, what happens to all that mental bandwidth that used to go into just trying not to eat? Where does it go? Well, it went to training. It went to the gym. It followed me to my workouts. And now instead of going, I got to stop eating, I'm like, I got to finish this set, right? And how much more powerful is that? When I'm like, I've got to finish a set and I'm putting all of this energy and wherewithal into just lifting heavier. Well, now what am I doing? I'm training my body. I'm flexing my muscles. I'm making myself stronger. So I'm mentally stronger and I'm physically stronger. Recovery started improving, inflammation dropped, sleep got better. All these things happened when I started tirzepatide. I was no longer constantly in a low-grade, stressed, under-recovered state anymore. When you look at this picture, what you see is a low-grade, stressed, under-recovered state. No more. The drug didn't change my desire to train. It removed the static that was getting in the way. So all of my training improved. So what did the GLP-1 actually do physically? So it regulated appetite. So food stopped being a daily battlefield. That's number one. I cannot tell you how freeing it is to go on a drug and immediately feel like, wow, life is different. Like I get to live this way. And you immediately go, do you mean that these people in my life who've just always kind of like been skinny or they've never struggled with weight, this is how they get to live? When they get in their car and they drive to the store, they're not thinking about buying a Milky Way. It's like the last thing on their mind. They're not gonna stop at McDonald's. They're not gonna stop at Wendy's. They're just gonna go do what they don't need a bacon cheeseburger. They don't like it doesn't even cross their mind. I remember thinking the first time I like went somewhere, for me, a big thing used to be Lowe's. I don't know why, but if I went to Lowe's or Home Depot and I was checking out, they always had the king size Milky Ways for like the contractors who are coming there. They're super hungry and, need to grab like some quick sugar. And I would see those and I would be like, oh my gosh, I got it. I like immediately, if I had a trip to Home Depot to get anything, I would start thinking about that Milky Way. And if you're fat, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been fat, you know what I'm talking about, because those are the habits that fat people have. And that went away immediately. Reduced systemic inflammation. So my joints felt better, recovery was faster, stabilized my energy. So no more afternoon crashes that killed afternoon sessions. So in the afternoon, I used to nap every single day. And it wasn't because I just wanted to take a quick, like little nap. I mean, I would be sitting at my desk, like not productive, and falling asleep. And fortunately, because I have an online business that I run from home, I'm able to set my own hours and take off whenever I want. And so I would do that. I would just nap every single day. Well, that's gone. I have plenty of energy all day. And then testosterone is part of that as well. It improved my relationship with food without requiring obsession or restriction. That's huge. Created conditions for consistent training, and consistency is everything. So again, because I don't have these massive swings where I eat too much and feel like crap and then I'm sluggish. All that's gone. It's just steady state energy all day, which means I can train better, which means I get better results. And it handed me capacity I didn't have before. Now, what GLP-1s didn't do? What did the drug not do? It did not set my alarm at 5 a.m. to get me up. It did not drive me to the gym. It did not load 225 pounds on the bar. It did not grind out 8 reps when 7 reps already crushed me. It didn't show up 268 times in 365 days. It didn't move 5.6 million pounds. The drug gave me a metabolic advantage. I still had to decide to show up every single morning and put in the work. And that decision is still 100% on me. The drug didn't do it. It just paved the way to make all of those actions have a greater result. And it cleared my mind so that I could choose the better way. I could choose to wake up consistently, to go to the gym, to put in the work over time, over the last year, and take my physique from a year ago, last May. So this picture right here, last May, standing on the beach. This is me right before my wife and I got a picture together. This is me trying to get like posed. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I was doing that. And this other picture is from 2 days ago when we were at the beach, 13 months apart. The difference maker is tirzepatide. The difference maker. You can see I have visible abs. I don't do ab work ever. I do a lot of stuff that indirectly works the abs, like paddleboarding and weightlifting of all different kinds, but I don't just sit in the gym doing crunches. Almost entirely what you're seeing there, that definition is from not eating so freaking much. And the reason why I'm able to not eat so freaking much is because of tirzepatide, which, by the way, if you're not on a GLP-1 and you're looking for a great source, EllieMD.com/reset is where I get mine. You can go there, set up a free account. You can see all the things they offer. My suggestion is GLP-1 and GIP together. That's tirzepatide. What they'll do is they'll pair you with a doctor who is licensed to practice in your state. They'll look over your situation, approve the medication, and you'll have it shipped to your door within 2 days. It's an awesome setup, clean product, no fillers, no preservatives, and it's a 503A pharmacy, compounded entirely in the USA, cost effective, especially considering that it includes doctor consults and the prescription mailed to you. I absolutely cannot recommend this highly enough. EllieMD.com/reset. That is my referral link. So when you use it, I do get a small commission, but at no additional cost to you. All right, so let's talk about the real story about GLP-1 and muscle. So what the critics won't tell you is that GLP-1 without resistance training is a problem. This is one of the reasons why on this channel, there are 3 pillars of the triple reset. People ask me this all the time. Like, what does it mean, triple reset? Here's what it means. I turned 40 and I was in the worst shape of my life. I was fat, I was tired, I was sluggish, and I was completely stuck, didn't know where to go. So I did 3 things. I changed 3 things just overnight. Number 1, I went on testosterone, TRT, because my levels were on the floor. And I got my levels normalized so that I could have the clarity and motivation and wherewithal to take life on and the strength in the gym to move some weight around. Second thing I did is I got on tirzepatide to control my hunger and reduce inflammation in my body. And the third thing I did is I started taking my workouts way more seriously. So I didn't just go to the gym. I went to the gym with a plan, and I executed on that plan to the tune of 5.6 million pounds in 1 year. Those 3 pillars completely changed everything. But here's the thing. If you are on a GLP-1 and you don't do resistance training of some kind, you will lose muscle and you will lose strength and you will look smaller and softer. This is the skinny fat problem that so many people are afraid of. The drug doesn't protect your muscle. The iron does. And when I say iron, I mean weights. I mean, cling some plates together, put them on a bar and lift it, and you will preserve your muscle. So if someone took a GLP-1 and lost muscle, they skipped the work, but that's not a GLP-1 failure. That's a training failure. The protocol matters. Drugs plus lifting plus protein, that's the way. Without lifting, you're losing the wrong weight. And so this isn't for people who want to take the shot and sit on the couch. Who is this for? This is for the people who've been training hard and still can't crack a metabolic ceiling. This is for the person whose hunger has been sabotaging everything that you're building in the gym. This is for you if you've done everything right and you still can't get your body to cooperate. And this is for you if you're not lazy, but you're metabolically blocked. This tool fixes that. And there's always somebody who will say something like, yeah, but you have to be on it forever. I have an answer for that, and it might be different than what you think. And it's in this video right here. So click on this if you're interested in that issue of how long do I need to be on it and why. I'll see you in that video.